right, all right. Another episode, another day. Time to kick it. Time to kick it with some interesting individuals. Don't call it a comeback. Don't call it a reincarnation. What we're really going to do is kind of spin it. We're going to revive a few things. So I'm grateful to bring these gentlemen on. The Revival, you already know them. I'm sure you're following them on Twitter, following them on socials. Let's just get them in here and we can just start chopping it up because there's no introduction better than the individual themselves.
Yeah. Peace and blessings. It is your boy, Eli Rex, aka Vibes, and welcome to the Zain here podcast, Kicking It with Zain with New York Revival, man. Of course, it's your boy, Eli Rex, aka Vibes, and I'm here with my brother, Mr. Glass Half Full of Nets. See if you nasty now. My brother Zain, man. Belt guy. Thank you for having us on, man. I figured to do the intro, make it cool. I don't know, man. I just figured...
there's a belt. I'm here. We're reviving together. And you know what? The vibes are always great, right? And that's why Eli's here. The vibe is great. Spiro's here. The glass is always half full. Unless it's the New York Rangers, then I don't know. Sorry, I'm from Jersey, so that was just a shot from the devil.
We get away. You guys worked us, man. You worked us.
Listen, man, we're going to get y'all back, bro. We're going to get y'all back. I'm serious, man. Y'all shouldn't have won, but that's another story. We'll get talk about that.
Different conversation.
I'm hurt by that still.
I'm sorry, man. I had to spice it up quick. Spice it up real quick, you know.
Still gave me your fist pump. We're good.
Yeah, of course. So tell me a little bit about you guys. All right, and y'all could play off of each other. You can go one-on-one. How do you get here? How do we go from my name is Eli, here's my name, here's who I am, here's where I live, and now Revival? How does that come to this point?
Speed, take it away, man.
Listen, started I always wanted to talk sports as a kid, so got into it, and I was like, you know what? Let me start writing, create my own site. New York Sports Guy, sports with a SPAWTS, because you gotta put that little slice on it. Sports Guy. No, but then listen, came into the podcast game, and we worked with a previous podcast. We all did at this point. We all know who we're talking about. But me, El Jefe, we started working there, and then Eli came through, man. He came through, and right as soon as he came through, it was like we felt the magic right away. So, eventually we moved into our own show that we could do all New York sports, because we're lovers of all sports here at New York Revival. We want to talk entertainment and all that good stuff. And we just we kicked it off last year and been podcasting ever since, and it's been a damn good time, I think. E, what do you think, bro?
No, listen, man, this has been a magical roller coaster, honestly, man. And just to take it back and now lead up to Spiro's point, man. But for me, how I started, literally, I created a Twitter account because my brother, may he rest in peace, man. I used to talk Giants football with him. So when he passed away, I was looking for that outlet. I was looking for that need, that want to display my feelings about the Giants. And long and behold, the most traction I got is when I was talking about the New York Giants. So I was like, all right, cool. And just so happened, I think it was during draft, and all of a sudden I get a DM from El Jefe. He's like, "Hey man, can you jump on this podcast with us, man?" And the rest was history. I jumped on with them, and next minute they asked me to do a recurring role over there, and the magic was with these guys the entire time, man. And it's funny. Spiro said, "No, everybody been there already. Everybody probably been there already at this point." You guys know what we talking about. Shout out to them, and there's no dig, no stabs or anything at them. Shout out to them. You get what I'm saying? But New York Giants Rush guys, if you ain't up on it, go get up on it. But we did that platform, and then we thought, hey man, we want to talk about New York sports. We wanted to branch out, and not only that. Me and Spiro, we're huge in the WWE. We're huge in the rap music. So is
I got a belt. Y'all talking wrestling like I ain't got a belt.
You know what I mean? So you already know the vibe. So we wanted to touch everything, and we just didn't want to stay in the lane as a Giants. We're not overly analytical. We're just the guys at a bar talking our shit. Excuse me, I don't know if we can curse, but
listen, this is your platform right now.
Appreciate you, bro. We wanted to talk our shit, so we were just like, "Yo, man, let's create something." And long and behold, New York Revival came around, and boy, it's been the most fastest growing probably podcast I can name right now. We grew very fast. We're only a year and change in, I think now, Speed. So correct me if I'm wrong. And we had, Nate Burleson on there. We had Tiki Barber on there. We had freaking Ransom, a rapper, man. We had so many people. Lawrence Tynes. Like, we have so many people. LPG. I can name them, man. Freaking Joy Taylor. Shout out to Joy, man. She's gonna stop by again. That's my sister right there. I love her. But
shout out to Ransom because he's from Jersey City and I'm from Jersey.
Oh,
yeah, you already know. Shout out to my guy, man. Top 5 rapper. But that's another.
Yeah, I'm a Jersey boy
top
myself.
5 lyricist. You know what I mean?
I was living in Jersey City for a couple of years too. So
Shout out Jersey City.
I was down by the tunnel, Hamilton Park, man. I got out of there about 4 years ago now. Yeah.
Oh, that's not Jersey City.
yeah, right. No, it wasn't original OG
talking,
Jersey City.
I'm talking 80s, 90s Jersey City.
No. I popped in there every once in a while,
I went to Dickinson High School in Jersey City on the Hill.
Okay.
So yeah. But again, different conversation. But shout out.
It's funny y'all kicking it that way. I'm a New York kid. I'm from Staten Island, man. You know what I mean? I'm from the Stapleton Project. Shout out Stapleton Project. Shout out to them. But I grew up there, man. Born and raised Staten Islander. But now I'm here with my guys. Like I said, man, just to wrap it up in a nutshell, man. And I love my brothers, man. It's my bros right here.
A few shout out to Mark. Appreciate you being here, Mark. The number one supporter of all podcasts of all time.
There's good people, man.
Darius support. I don't know how you do it, but Darius supports everybody.
Love you, man.
Somebody even said that. Where was that? Here we go. Darius is every New York Giants content creator's hero because he's always
man.
Absolutely.
Chris is in the building. Eli is the king of Twitter Spaces. He does kill it. If you didn't know, past, present, future.
Facts.
Mal is in the building with her actual name where it says Mallory, so you might not know.
Mallory.
Mal.
Shout out to the GOAT right there, man. Big Mal, man.
Mark's in the house. What's going on?
Mark B. We'll get Ransom, Mark. I promise, man. We're going to get him back.
Perry says, I just know Rush, Tommy, and Zain. I have no who these guys are. Well, Fairies, Jay, you got to follow.
You know, bro.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
So make sure you follow them. They're dope. They're the OGs.
So I'll say this. Let me say this.
Appreciate it. I hate as hard as I can, just as much as I love.
Yo, who was that guy? Jay, bring him back up. Bring that comment back up, Jay. Yeah. So, Jay, I want you to do a favor because I'm going to give you a quick history lesson on how you can figure out where me and Spee and Hefe came from, all right? Dan Ovlarski interview, you can catch me and Spee on there. The Madeline Burke interview on Rush, you can catch me and Hefe on there. Also, I think in another few, the Carl Banks and etc., you might find Hefe on there. So do a little research, you got to do a little digging, and you'll find us there for sure. But for me, I was only there for like 6 months, man. And I got out of here. You know what I mean? Shout out to them, though. Tommy G's my guy, man. What you doing? Tommy Tanks, baby, in the building.
We're deep here. If I miss somebody, please forgive me. I'm gonna keep going through these, but I got to keep these boys on focus too, right? Got to give them their platform and get to the comments.
Yeah.
While these gentlemen are speaking in the comments, if you have questions for them, please, by all means, ask away. Right.
Look at decked out in the revival gear.
So now
that merch.
Now we got the family life. There's kids involved here. Y'all got kids. I got kids. I got 2 boys. Somebody mentioned we're big into wrestling. That's how the whole belt thing's been in my head for a long time. I sat here and I was like, I've seen people with their belts for different organizations, fan base, and I was like, yo, those kind of suck. Every time I saw them, they're not that good. I was like, I want something dope. So I had this actually custom made, and it's been pretty dope. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run with this now. So speaking of wrestlers, y'all remember when LT fought Bam Bam Bigelow? Y'all remember that?
Hell yeah!
As a Giants fan, the Giants actually have a giant memory at a WrestleMania, which is again their Super Bowl, right? If there's an equivalent. Y'all don't watch wrestling. That is their Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Lawrence Taylor, Bam Bam Bigelow, elbow off the top, the middle turnbuckle, right there, Bam Bam. Shout out to Bam Bam Bigelow, also from Jersey.
R.I.P. Bam Bam Bigelow. I believe he's no longer with us. R.I.P. Bam Bam Bigelow. But a legend, an absolute legend. Just to go back and reiterate that, yes, LT. I remember when Bam Bam Bigelow comes in, and I think Salt and Pepper actually did What a Man for LT. You know what I mean? And Bam Bam Bigelow walks up to him, scares the crap out of him, and I don't even think that was staged because that's whoever, I don't know if it was Salt or Pepper, one of them was trying to fight Bam Bam Bigelow. And I was like, oh, it's about to go to hell. You want to talk about great matches of all time? That was one of the great matches of all times of WrestleMania. Freaking LT off the second turnbuckle with the fist. Dude, come on, man. It was classic. Leading up to it was even
awesome.
classic.
I was LT was my favorite player. So the combination of him coming into the WWE world was like my brain exploded as a kid, man. It was the best. It was the best.
That cross mashup was just absolutely great. So now we come a little bit full circle. The Giants, to say the least, sans last year, had a deplorable decade. I don't even know what the right word is. Dejected. It's awful, right? It was stressful. You go with this high and you hit that second Super Bowl in that window for Elon. You're like, we got something here, and then it's just like this direction. Not even slowly, it just goes really down. And you get those little highlights here and there. You get the Odell, you get this, you get that, you get the one or two, unsustainable moves, right? What was it like going through that time frame? And again, don't talk about last year just yet. And then 2016 was the one-off year, right? In between, it was nothing. We had that 2016 year. What was that time frame like? How are you managing that?
Well, listen, I can only speak for myself. I lived through the earlier years, the very successful years before that. If you were 20-something, I understand how you would be like, full on, you came into the sports world to 2 Super Bowls. You were living the high life as a fan. It ain't always that easy, as you can find out. So, we went through some lean years, but I was like, you know what? I still, in my prime years of my life, I got to see 2 Super Bowls that held me over. There's a lot of other sports franchises that struggle a lot worse than what the New York Giants did. So I could fall back on that. But, it sucked, man, because, that New York Giants have been my passion since I even knew what sports were. To see my team just struggling to get off the gates, man, like that every year, and watching them ruin the end of Eli's career specifically, just broke my heart. And, I think we found the guy at the top, the 2 guys at the top now. And I feel like that is what you need to get back into relevancy. And they headed that way, man. And things turned around. I got tricked by Joe Judge for a little bit. I got tricked by that son of a bitch salesman. But this guy feels for real. Dable's for real, and it's got me through the dark days, man. He's got me through it. So
quick sidebar that you mentioned. I'll get both of your opinions on this. Did you really buy what Joe Judge was selling?
I think I say all did, but I damn sure was. I was like, man, this guy might be it. Let me speak for myself here. At first, I was like, man, this guy might be it. I mean, listen, that first year, even though we had a losing record, right? I think he talked that talk, and it just sounded good. It's something that we haven't had in a while. We had Shermer, then we had McAdoo before that, right? So when you're looking at it, you go, man, these guys were very laid back, was very player friendly, you know what I mean? But now you actually had the Parcells type of guy, tough on the players, coach trained, developed these guys. But man, that second year came in, and when he did that quarterback sneak coming in with the Jake Fromm from State Farm, yeah, it was bad, man. We were just like, okay, the salesman, the pitch didn't work this year. We got to get you the hell up out of here. And long and behold, the same roster almost, right? And before, I know we're jumping the gun here, but
though. I mean, take the conversation when it's going. You are right.
Appreciate it.
Roster.
But same roster, and we went to in the playoffs, right? Like a couple pieces here and there that we added, but it was the same amount of people, and we hit the playoffs, and I think we were 9-7-1, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here, guys. My memory's shot. I'm getting old. You know what I mean? But that should tell you the salesman he was. He wasn't the coach. He wasn't that type of guy to get it done. And then if you really want to look at it, and there's no slack to Joe Judge because I still like him as a person. There's no hate at all. It's just he wasn't the guy for the job. But when you start looking at New England and how he was the offensive coordinator there, which was a carousel, these guys couldn't do a damn thing over there. So it's coaching. It's coaching, man. So he just wasn't the guy. But, man, I did fall for it. I did fall for it that first year. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, it's like an interview, right? It's like an interview. Like he sold himself very well. He's like, we're gonna be tough. We're gonna get back. Belichick was his guy that brought him in, so it all felt good in that sense. Like Belichick suggested we hire this guy. He can't be wrong, right? Like, and you look back at it, none of the Belichick guys have ever had any success. So we got into it. Yeah,
you got it, Speed. I think the Giants actually needed to lose before they could win. Because they listened to everything that people had ties to the organization with. They listened to them the most, thinking it was the right decisions to make. Belichick, they always went back and got my man, the GM at the time, before he took over for Jerry Reese.
No.
but after before Jerry Reese. Not before, after Jerry Reese. After Jerry Reese. What's my guy?
No, after Reese. After Reese,
Shermer. You're thinking about Shermer.
No, who was before Reese? I'm sorry. Who was before Jerry Reese?
Of course.
They always went back and got a Corsi's opinion, and it never worked. So the Giants' way was the old. It just had to happen this way to finally go out and get people outside of the organization to help with this, this organization now. You know what I mean? Like all these guys from Buffalo that found success up there are coming down here and actually finding some success now. So are they hungry enough? Now we still want to see that hopefully they won't be complacent, because even though that Jerry Reese, to go back to a little bit of your point, Zain, during that time we were losing, I think Jerry Reese and that staff found a little bit of complacency, right? Because they did win a Super Bowl twice, right? So they figured, okay, we can just keep plugging these guys in and we'll be all right. We can win a Super Bowl. We got Tom Coughlin. No, Tom Coughlin, unfortunately, they fired a little prematurely, in my opinion. They wasn't drafting well. They wasn't doing well at all. It just needed to implode. And it had to get to that point of the Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman to get to where we at now. You know what I mean? So it just had to happen that way. I think Mara finally was like, let me get the hell out of the way and let the people that need to run it, that I pay to run it at this point, if that makes sense.
I put this tweet out, and I'll ask you about it if you did or didn't see it, but I put this tweet out about how Izudu and Flott are most likely going to be the most productive third rounders the Giants have had since 2008. Mario Manningham. Everything in between, and you can look this up, I could pull up the names. Everything in between were probably here 3 years or less, or didn't start, or were cut. Third rounders. And some guys played their full contract. Like Lorenzo Carter played the full years, but he didn't do nothing. Like, fine, he played his rookie contract. He didn't do it, but actual production.
I love Zoe.
Since Mario Manningham. So it's been 13 seasons of third round misses.
Yeah, that's where you make
that's
the money.
That's insane, really? Yeah. Wow.
I didn't even make your money, man. Well, BJ Hill was
third rounders.
BJ Hill had a pretty decent career, so I will say that is the only one that even came close.
And then
right. But it's that's where you make your money.
I'll throw out some names, right? Let them rattle them out.
Yeah, let me hear some names. I'm curious now.
Jarrell Jernigan, remember Jarrell Jernigan?
That one good year. One good year.
Remember Jay
Mosley, undersized, cornerback, smart.
Travis Beckham, remember the little H-back Travis Beckham that they drafted? There was that guy.
Yep.
There was Owa Digizua.
Yeah,
he retired year two.
Remember Demonstre Moore? Kept getting those 50
yeah.
Those two guys both had so much potential, but they bet on guys that had potential, and they never coached them up. They never coached them up.
Jerry Reese was a little bit ahead of his time, because if he was grabbing some of those tweeners today, he'd probably be hitting.
Yeah.
He was missing.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Right. So we move forward. Here comes the new guys, right? The new guys are here. It's Joe Shane. Joe Shane brings whoever he has to bring, hires Dayball. Dayball hires Wink, which was my favorite hire, and I put all my eggs in the Wink basket in year one just because I thought he was going to be the difference. And I was a fan of bringing over Kafka. So here comes everything new. Back to Eli's point. Relatively the same roster, relatively speaking. Obviously, a new draft class got in, but everyone outside of McFadden got hurt for a period regardless. Yeah. And we go 9-7-1. As the weeks are going and we start off as hot as we do, when did you know? Was it literally that Saquon 2-point week one? When did you know it was about to be different?
Hell yeah. Speed, take it, man. Take it.
Yeah, it's cliche, but man, the balls that he had to do that, it just rocked my world right off the bat. And he put such the way he cheered afterwards, and the way it felt like a connection. If everybody right off the bat, it felt like a connection, and him and Wink got it together so well. And every time they won, they were hugging. And actually, it was the post game in the locker room. He's dancing to Biggie. I was like, "Yo, this is a down ass dude. He's got balls. He did it all in the first week. He just put all the whole package together." And I was in, to take a phrase from our ex GM, I was in full bloom love with our boy Table, man. He was it, man. It felt like that right off the bat.
No, I agree, man. To piggyback everything you said, I think that week one will be for everybody. That's that defining moment, right? You go for 2 points. Saquon goes in there, punches it in. Not only punches it in, but he gets up and he's a little chippy with the linebacker there. I believe that was. I forget the exact. And he just looks right in his face, and that's how you knew this was a different team. But then you see Dayball losing his freaking mind on the sideline as he trusts these guys, because unfortunately Joe Judge couldn't trust him. You know what I mean? He was doing third down, quarterback sneaks all the way to punt the ball to get out of the end zone, right? So to put trust into these guys and these guys going to execute, that's right there the turning point, not only for the team, but for the entire fan base was sold on Brian Daboll that week 1. I think that was the moment. And then, of course, you play Green Bay, right? And then they go in and they win that game. So I think that right there was just like, all right, we got our guy. We got our guy. And then let's go a little bit backtrack, if you don't mind, Zane. If you don't mind, that is.
Please
let's go a little backtrack. That draft was incredible too, when you were sold on the front office, right? You're like, yo, they got our guy Thibodeau. And they got Evan Neal, the best guy. Like we were elated to have this guy. And then we're coming in, we're like, yo, man, we actually got a GM that understands what we need. Just not putting guys in there. Like when Dave Gettleman was drafted, we was like, yo, what's his plan? What is his plan? We was all scratching his head. Even some analysts was like, yo, we don't know what this team is. They don't have an identity. What's his plan? We didn't know. But we know exactly what Joe Shane's plan is when he had that draft, right? Then they go out week 1 and execute and wins. Sold. Now we want a playoff game. Sold.
I'll tell you one more. Yeah. I'll tell you one more. And it was a certain moment. And it's, kind of get lost in the shuffle. But when Daniel Jones got briefly hurt in that Chicago Bears game, and they had to, on a dime, think about what to do. Because when Tyrod Taylor got injured on the very next play, it was like 2 or 3 plays afterwards, and we're down to our emergency quarterback, which wasn't a person, where there's nobody there. So they went wildcat with Saquon, and they still kept moving the ball. I was like, man, this guy got hit with a terrible situation, and he thought on a dime, and he was prepared for it. He knew what to do right off the bat. And I think they got points at that drive. At the very least, they moved the ball. I'm like, my man lost 2 quarterbacks in a snap, and he still put it together, and he still adjusted on the fly. It's like, this guy knows his shit, and he's ready for everything. So, it's the whole package. And then it was just love after that.
This coaching staff have shown you the ability to adjust, to not only adjust but make the decision. Where if we go back to just Joe Judge because he was the one right before, I'll use him. Even with Patrick Graham wouldn't change his scheme at all, man.
Garrett.
That zone, that is it. He refuses to say, you know what? At least I'd rather die taking a shot. It was like, no, I'm gonna just pray for the best here.
Yeah, just like you're sitting there, just taking it, like change.
And it's just,
what it was? There was halftime adjustments. Absolutely. Like Joe Judge didn't have any, like you said, right? They just went out and stuck to the same game plan. And you're like, yo, where's the adjustments? Where's when you started seeing Daboll come out and it was a totally different offense, where you see either more bootlegs, more RPOs, more whatever. It was always adjustments that second half to combat whatever that team was doing. Even on the defensive side of the ball, maybe they play a little more man than zone. You know what I mean? So you always see the difference between that. So that's how you know, like, okay, this guy can coach. That the fact that this guy can make that adjustments during the half times to have this team in the game and possibly win it, that's the coach we're looking for. That's all we ask for as a fan base. So that's how you know, man. That's how you know this guy, okay, we got something here.
Not only that, but bringing some of the modern aspect. Like Jason Garrett was just a non-factor. Don't even know what that was all about. I'm going to pretty much say that was a Tom Mara scenario there. Probably what that is. And then I liked Patrick Graham. It's not like I have anything against Patrick Graham. I don't know if he did the best with his players that he could have. Even that first year, they outperformed. That was the COVID year, I believe, where they outperformed in 2020. But now you bring in Wink, who's solidified. You know who that man is. Yep. I mean, sleeves, cutoffs, fitted,
mullet going on,
hair flowing, flexing on them, baseball gloves in the weight room.
Go.
Just a gangster. That's Wink right there.
I loved him in Baltimore too, right? Like we all loved him.
Yeah,
he's just who he is. Dope ass dude.
Just who he is. And then you bring in Mike Kafka coming from the Andy Reid tree to an extent with. Look at what he's been working with every day to pick up on nuances between quarterbacks, personnel, and everything. He brings that over, and I think as an OC, he outperformed what I expected with that talent and those pieces, with the O-line still decimated. How did you feel about the new coaches coming on board? What did you see about those coaches that said, yep, these are guys that I want, I'm liking what they're doing, or I don't love this so much? And you can speak on both coaches, individual, whatever, but tell me a little bit on your thought of both defensive and offensive coordinators as they came in and performed.
I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't Wink as a head coach when we was looking at Shermer. I think that's the time when he was in the interview carousel of being a head coach, and I think it was him, Shermer at the time. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I wanted Wink Martindale as the head coach back then.
Yeah.
So him coming on as the DC, I was just like, perfect. Perfect. This is what we're here for. As far as Mike Kafka, I didn't know too much. I just knew, okay, this guy runs the Kansas City. He's the quarterback's coach. So if he's able to develop Pat Mahomes behind the scenes, I'm not sure what year he got there, to the Pat Mahomes that we see now, then, hey, we'll give him a shot. But I always knew Daboll, being that offensive coordinator in Buffalo, that he can help him if this guy was to struggle. And to be honest with you, man, I think there was like at least one game, and correct me if I'm wrong, Speed, where you saw Kafka where you're like, man, what do you call it? And then that adjustment kicked in. Yeah. And next minute he started taking off, going with the races, or whatever the case of that analogy is. You know what I mean? It was just off with the races. So, he grew into the role that he is. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Kafka still has a little bit more to prove. You know what I mean? In this next season to see what he can do with Daniel Jones. But the fact that he fixed Daniel Jones from being that turnover machine everybody kind of knew him for, the turnovers, right? He didn't have any. Like, it was very minimal. You know what I mean? Yeah, the touchdowns were low, but the worst thing that was on Daniel Jones's record was the turnovers. So the fact that he was able to fix the quarterback, got the ball out quicker, couldn't really develop the longer plays because the O-line was decimated. That's a damn good offensive coordinator, whether you like it or not. So you got to give him flowers as well. But Speed, take it, man. What's your thoughts on it?
No, I mean, like, listen, Kafka and Wink are the exact opposites of what Patrick Graham and Jason Garrett were. Like, Jason Garrett was old school, stuck to his guns. What wasn't smart at all. His passing concept sucked. Everything was just, plain old Jason Garrett. Graham, bend but don't break. And Wink is, I'm going to break you. He dictates. And Kafka is now starting to dictate. These guys are they think ahead. They force teams to adjust to them. And that's what I like. And Daboll is another guy. He forces teams. He like, you are adjusting to us now. We're not playing off of you guys. So I like the aggressiveness out of everybody. I loved Wink, like I said, coming from Baltimore. I love that Ravens organization to begin with. I love Wink's whole look. I like his name, Wink. I like he was saying, I wanted him as a coach back in that last search, but that was neither here or there. But he's a blitz master. I want an aggressive blitz guy. Like, it all just lined up with coming to New York. So Wink was the easy sell. Kafka, smart hire. I knew right off the bat. And even though it took me a while to like say, okay, I was like, he's a rookie offensive play caller. He's never actually called plays before. So I had to remain patient. There were some things that he wasn't piecing together the plays correctly. His tempo of calling plays was a little off. But you could see that he was smart about what the plays were. He's designing a great game plan. So I had faith that his mind was there. I was like, he's just got to get used to this job. And I think it was after the bye, I think it was the second Washington game, where the offense started to look a lot better, started to operate better. He started calling better plays, started finishing halves better. Like, it started to click for him in Kafka's mind. And the end of the season was beautiful, in my opinion. They attacked Minnesota the way they needed to. They attacked the Colts the way they needed to. Did it in Minnesota again, and he's learned each way going through it. So I think Kafka, there's no doubt that he's going to be a coach soon. He's, in my opinion,
he'll never get a head coaching job. He sucks.
Yeah. I want to keep him all bundled up and keep him, but I think he's very smart and he knows what he's doing next quarterback. But man, I'm glad that they're both back. Continuity for the first time in so long is a beautiful thing.
Big deal. Shout out to Mike Kafka, man, Chicago boy. He's dope. So I remember Mike Kafka from being a quarterback. I remember when the Eagles drafted him, and I was like, that's where his dad wants to go. So, I mean, that was really just my memory bank when it came to Kafka. But again, where you're coming from makes a difference.
Yes.
Being able to work with Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid, and those pieces, how can you not have something to bring to the table? Plus, it's still with Daboll, right? Your actual head coach is the offensive line, so they can kind of work together. So you mentioned Minnesota. Game 1 in Minnesota, you lose on some bull, right? Like a 97-yard field goal, might as well have been Madden. But you were in that game, even though they were a much better team by record. And, the old Parcells sayings, right? Your record, you are what your record says you are type scenario. So still a good team. You got the rematch. How are you feeling going into the rematch?
I think that's what we wanted. Right?
Yeah,
I think all Giants fans are like, bring them on. Like, just don't give us San Fran. right? I think, right? Bring them on. Just don't give us San Fran. Yeah. So we knew we were going to go in there and actually not dominate. Well, I thought dominate. And I I thought the performance was dominant, as far as the quarterback position is concerned. And boy, we could talk about that game. That's I could watch that game over and over because, man, that quarterback came alive. But before we go down that road, just watching that game, I was really no, we're matched up well with the Minnesota Vikings. Let's give another crack at them when it's all on the line. And, man, Dayball and Kafka, they had them guys ready. And I think as far as the defense was kind of getting torched a little bit. If you watch that game, the defense was kind of getting killed. But what was great about it, it is a great offense. So I don't know why people don't give us credit. Why do y'all don't give us credit? That's another story. That's for our show before I flip out. All right, that's my story. But they don't give us enough credit because that offense was explosive. But give credit where credit's due. Daniel Jones played a masterful game that game. You know what I mean? That game plan for him to just control, he was so confident throwing the ball, running with the ball. He just found that extra level that everyone was looking for. And I mean, I say everyone because everybody still has detractors out there. I get it. But for me, that when I wasn't really sold on Daniel Jones throughout the year, where I was like, man, I got to see more. He checked those boxes off on that game. I was like, he's tough. This guy can go in there and put the game on his back. And I think we were calling for it on our pod where I was like, Daniel Jones, this is your time to shine. This is the time when you got to come alive. And he did, man. The guy played extremely well, man. So I already knew it was going to be a great game. I knew it was going to be dominance. I knew Daniel Jones was going to step up and do his thing. I just didn't know it was going to be that high. You know what I mean? But Speed, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, listen, that first game gave you all the confidence in the world. I was calling Minnesota a fraud team from, early on, man. You could see that they were getting by on fake shit, a bad, terrible defense and just an elite offense. And I was just like, if we could just keep them in range, within our point range, then we could win this game. So all the confidence in the world after that first game, because you saw DJ just tearing them up. And once everything just clicked. Everything clicked in that second Minnesota game. You saw a full confident DJ for one of the first times since probably his rookie year. And you're like, okay, that's the guy. He's still there. You could see that he was still there. And they just took it to him. And here's the thing. Everybody, kind of diminishes that game because of how bad Minnesota's defense is. Sure, yes, they're not a good defense. But DJ won in a shootout. He was going against that Minnesota offense. He beat that Minnesota offense. He scored more points in that Minnesota offense, which was one of the tops in the league. So nobody gives him credit for that, but he says they beat a bad defense. No, he went out there, he put important drives together in important times, and he came through in the clutch when he needed to, man. So don't diminish that. And
Speed, he was running that ball too, right? Speed, he was running
whatever he needed.
When it wasn't there, he ran. Like there's just so much things that he did to take control of that game where you just go, man, bravo. I don't know how he got the hate still. I really don't know. But I actually listen, man. I asked the people that are his detractors, right? I go, well, what makes you not like him? Oh, I just don't like him. You can't change my opinion. Spiro will tell you. There was one tweet. Well, why you don't like him? Because I just don't like him. It's just mind-boggling to me. You making it personal. I can understand if he stinks. I can understand if he was just stinking up the joint. But he's not. The guy is progressively getting better. So why not put your money down and be like, you know what, he's on my team, and I hope he gets better. I hope he leads us to the promised land. Instead of just saying you don't like the guy that don't like him. Man, I just don't get it with some Giants fans. But that's another subject in the story. But that guy played extremely well. You got to tip your hat off to Daniel Jones, man. And I don't know, he played a great game, Speed. That's what really helped us out was Daniel freaking Jones that game, in my opinion.
Speak of the devil. That's gonna be the $100 million question, right? So last year there were a few things with Jones. It was just like, man, I wish you would do this. In the previous years, he was like, you know what, I wish you would step up into the pocket a little bit more. I wish you would just get off the first read. I know you're about to get wrecked, but just get off the first read and maybe glance at the second one in your peripheral if needed, right? Just little things that I feel like were fair critiques. Not to hammer on you, but other guys are doing it too, like progressions, all that. That's what you're probably going to need to do. He did those things last. I didn't think he was going to be able to, but he changed some certain habits where I was like, ooh, wait, you're making changes. I like that. Your Cousins, right? I like that.
Yes.
Yes.
So then
like that.
here's the $100 million question. You've hit it, right? Daniel Jones. What is this man's ceiling? What more does he have to do? Just not even to be liked, but just to get some respect.
Yeah. I think
3,025 touchdowns. You think, Speed?
yeah. I think listen,
to
no.
beat his rookie numbers.
I don't want to put a number on it. I think what he needs to do is be more aggressive. Be more aggressive and take shots downfield. Because when you do that, the big plays is what earns like the money. You know, it's like the home runs in baseball. It's what earns it. 15 touchdowns is not going to cut it. You got to rip it. You gotta let it rip and make some tough throws. You got to make plays downfield. Be aggressive and be that 30 touchdown guy. Be that 4,000-yard passer. You don't get the 4,000 yards, and listen, this is no fault of his own last year. He did what the offense needed to do to win games. It was a more run-heavy based offense. Now, but towards the end of the season, started moving to a direction that was a more pass-heavy offense, and that's why they gave Daniel Jones $40 million because they believe in that guy. They believe that he's going to be that guy to take him to that next level. Now, you put people around him to help him succeed, and you're going to see – and you bear out the numbers. You just do the math on like all the people that they brought in and give them just average seasons. And when I started breaking it down, you have yourself an easy 30 touchdown, 4,000-yard season if you just play average. So I think that's well within his capabilities. I think if Evan Neal could just hold down his fort a little bit in the right tackle spot, it'll allow him to go down the field, and you use all these playmakers we got, man. We use these playmakers, and Daniel Jones is going to be able to do that and have a successful season. I don't think it's about numbers, though. It's about aggressiveness. Let's see that aggressiveness.
Now, I don't want to jump around too much, but you brought it up. I like the flow of the conversation, right? Here's Daniel Jones. Now, year 2 of Mike Casco, my expectation is also throwing it down the field, open things up. I expect more from Evan Neal. Talk to me a little bit about these additions of speed. That's been obviously the dominant storyline on both sides of the ball, been speed, addition of speed, right? You bring in Jalen Hyatt, who to me, again, I've said it, I'll keep repeating, he's a Will Fuller, Deshaun Jackson type, is how he should be used, at least initially. You bring that, speed to the table. You bring Darren Waller, speed to the table. Now you got the 2 tight ends set to chip, block, release, and keep adding your speed. How do you feel about the offense and where it's heading? Not where it is right now, but where it's heading now with some of the additional pieces.
Let me say this, right? When you start looking at the pieces that we have, right? I think those speed guys, because when you look at Jalen Hyatt in this film, right? He's kind of give you that Odell Beckham twitchy, can actually get himself open very quick. You know what I mean? As far as, getting separation from the cornerback or whoever's there, right? As far as the matchup is concerned. I think those speedsters are there to compensate what the O-line can do. So if the O-line doesn't, let's say, play up to expectations, those guys are going to get open quick where it's going to have Daniel Jones release that ball a little quicker than usual, right? As far as opening up the field, as far as down, you still got Darius Slayton for that. So if the O-line actually does decide to do their job, which we hope very well, then you still have that speedster and Darius Slayton. You still have Paris over there on that side as well that can help, right? But those intermediate guys will be your Jalen Hyatt, and it'll be our guy, man. Speed, who's our guy, man? Hodgins. Yeah, there we go, Hodgins. Sorry, Hodgins, man. You my guy. Shout out to you. I'm just old, man. I just be forgetting things. But yeah, we still have our guy Hodgins to give you that intermediate. So if the case doesn't work out, as far as the O-line, those guys are going to get open very quick. But Daniel Jones is going to release that ball and let it rip. So I think that's why they went with a little bit more speedsters per se, because then they can cover all bases if the line doesn't work out. And you still got Waller as well, that could take you to deep. Like, there's just so much stuff they could do. And I think they cross their T's and dot their I's. These guys are tall. These guys are fast. They cross their T's, dot their I's here, Speed. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or Zain, let me know.
It was a clear directive to get faster on both sides of the ball. Paris Campbell, he's gonna do some serious work in motion, intermediate, but get that guy the ball and let him make plays. Wan'Dale Robinson coming back now. Wan'Dale Robinson doesn't have to rush back. Paris Campbell's gonna take that for that 1 year or half a year and slow down Wan'Dale, get healthy. But you got 2 guys that are going motion that could fool people. They can come in the backfield, jet sweep. They could run screens. Then you have your intermediate guy, like he said, Hodgins, Mr. Reliable, Mr. Red Zone, tall, big guy. And then Slayton and Hyatt. I think what we have to do, though, is just temper expectations a little bit year 1, because it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
And that's why they re-signed Slayton. You don't have to rush Hyatt in. You don't have to give him a full route tree. Let him do what he does best. Go routes, slants, and quick passes, crossing routes, and let him use that speed. Let him burn.
Yeah.
Athletics.
You're nailing
Just
up
let 'em
mix
burn.
and matching sub packages, bringing them at the
Yeah,
right
absolutely.
time, bringing them
Yep.
for the right
Absolutely.
matchup.
Yep.
Like you have like Paris Campbell, Darren Waller, Jalen Hyatt, Shep, God bless his heart and his body,
Please.
Wandale Robinson. These are 5 different people who can play in the slot and move out of the slot. So
Yes.
I'm expecting a lot of creativity. And to me, you know, the biggest, not the biggest, but just opinion piece on me is, man, Daniel Bellinger, that boy DJB.
Yeah, we
He
didn't even talk about him.
such an interesting role because if you put a 12 personnel and you say, hey,
Mhm.
listen, you know, I just need you to sit here and chip and release. When
Mhm.
everybody else is already out and he's leaking out in the flat, as athletic as he is, what are you going to do next then? What are you going to do?
Who's covering
They
him?
just don't
Like,
know.
like a third linebacker?
Yeah, there's
Right.
nobody.
That's it.
So if Waller and Slayton and Hyatt are just kind of pushing up, and now he stays into block and just holds for a second and a half, and now he leaks out. Who's covering him in the flat? A
Mhm.
cornerback?
Mm-hmm.
A
That's
safety?
true.
Who's
Right.
covering him at that point? That's an easy look. Even
Is
if
he
he gets
muscles
picked up,
too?
oh, he ate the other Daniel Bellinger. So he's huge. So even if he, you know, gets hit early off of a leak, he's gonna get you 6 to 8, and you're moving the ball forward. No, that's
Mhm.
relentless, right? It's a long game here. I'm just gonna keep going and going and wearing you down. So I mean, I think it's fair to want to temper expectations, but there's some very key pieces here that are very excitable. Like you can
It's a
project
plan,
and see, yeah,
right?
you
You
can
can see the
you
plan.
can see the
Yep.
vision, right? There's a very clear-cut vision of what can be, and that's
Mhm.
exciting. So now we flip to the other side, all right? A lot of patchwork happening on the defense last year. Guys getting hurt. You know, Xavier McKinney in and out. Julian Love is gone. McLeod was playing Zion Gilbert for the love of me. Don't know why, but you kind of had to play him, right? You just had to do these
Off the
things.
streets.
Dane Belton hurt, comes back, re-injures. Same thing. You're going in circle on the defense. Kayvon hurt. Aziz can't stay healthy. A lot of these guys' additions are just literally being able to walk back on the field and be healthy and just
Mhm.
bringing that health factor back in it. How did you feel about Kayvon's year 1?
If you
Yeah.
have to give a grade,
No.
Speed, what'd you get? Because I know we graded it, but
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, I would say solid B for me. You know, I
I
think
agree.
That's fair.
taking away a preseason and a couple of games that early in his career is so detrimental to a rookie that it just knocked off the first half of his year so badly. But you saw as the season went on and progressed, he was getting held. You know, he was starting to make. He was winning. His win rate was always high.
He
The
was
sacks
held
weren't
on
there
every
exactly.
play, man.
He
I'm
was
not
getting
trying to be
held all the time.
biased. I'm not
Yeah,
being
yeah.
biased. It was ridiculous.
Oh my god, and it was ridiculous. But listen, rookies don't get that call. I get it. You know, you got to earn that. You got to earn that in the NFL. Now they know. Now he's he put on muscle. You're going to add to your pass rush arsenal. But like I said, to the end of the year, that Redskin game, he literally got us in the playoffs with that Redskin game. He made a game changing play, and you see that type of talent that he is. He's going to at least double his sacks this year. I have him at like 10. I think he's gonna, put himself on the map, being healthy all year long. Hopefully, I love this guy's potential, man. I love him, and he's got a great mentor, Michael Strahan. I'll tell you that much. A great mentor to look up to. So I'm looking forward to year 2 of Thibodeau.
Yeah, no, Speed, I have to piggyback that, man. I think it was a good solid B after we kind of let some time pass and looking back at it. It's a good solid B, man. And for a rookie to come in and actually, like you said, that Redskins game is where he came alive. I think the expectations were way too high for Kayvon Thibodeau for his rookie year because we thought he was going to come in and just be dominated the whole time,
Well,
which he did.
hopefully part of that is his own fault too, right? He set his
Yes,
right.
he's boisterous.
Maybe you're going to
Yes.
learn a little bit, like set your expectation, but don't be that clear
Don't be-
detailed about it, right? Keep it top level.
I think he's humbled a
Absolutely.
little bit after that
Yeah.
year 1, right?
And think about it. The league actually was put on to him, right? For him talking a little bit, yapping. It was like, yo, this rookie ain't going to get me. Yes, he was held. We can all debate that and look at the film like, yo, he's being held a lot. But when he came alive and actually figured it out, man, he had great games. You know what I mean? So he was a B, but I think we want to see that next step. We want to see if he can actually come in there and give you that double digits, to be that passer, that attacking linebacker that you want him to be, or that edge rusher you want him to be. So we want to see, man. So, I want to see more. Solid
we gotta
B,
see
but
more.
we definitely would like to see more, see if we can get to that A portion of it.
Well, what he had,
he's a Jekyll and Hyde personality. Like he's just a really nice kid. Like I've been very fortunate just one time to kind of interact through his partners and everything. So I got to talk to him very briefly. He's a very humble, chill guy. Like his actual end goal aspirations are all community service. Nothing else. That's all the guy cares about. So he turns into a little bit of beast on the field, which I like that little Jekyll and Hyde. But even he spoke on it that maybe I, set things too lofty in my own head. It was getting too far ahead. So hopefully now the game slows down and a healthy Aziz makes such a difference because Aziz was so productive even though he barely played. I mean, that bend in that Minnesota, he was like a tsunami or a wave, if you will, the way he was getting around. So I hope he's healthy too. But yeah, I'm with you guys on Thibodeau. Anywhere between a B- to a B, that's the world he kind of lives in. So let me flip the other first rounder to you because a lot of people are way lower on Evan Neal than I am. He had a good stretch of 5 weeks before he hurt his MCL that you didn't hear from him in the sense that he was doing his job, which is perfectly fine. He wasn't getting wrecked. He hurts his MCL, comes back, just doesn't look the same at all whatsoever. He's grinding. He's working. What's happening in year 2 with Neal?
Oh man, guess who you want to take that?
Listen, I have very high hopes for Evan Neal, man. I have very high hopes. If he could just be, and I'm not setting a huge bar for him. If he could just be average and not wreck games, this offense is going to take off. So I'm not. What he is, at the very least, is a very good run blocker. At the very minimum, he's that. So he never gave that up all season long. The games where he struggled. Listen, he struggled against elite pass rushers. A rookie's that's going to happen sometimes. He got beat by he got his lunch eaten by Derek Lawrence on Dallas. He got his lunch eaten by Reddick, and Danielle Hunter. He took him to school too. You learn from that. This guy's a very smart guy. He went to Willie Anderson, a former Pro Bowler and a smart guy, and he's changed his stance. If nothing else, he's a hard worker. He's athletic. And I will put my trust in a guy that works hard, that loves football, and comes from Bama. Everything lines up to be at least average, and that's what we want out of him. And I expect more than that. That injury did shake up his whole rookie year. Evan Neal is going to be a very good player at one position or another. I'm hoping it's right tackle, but he's got the work ethic to be a good player, and I truly believe it's going to be a bounce back year.
For Neal, man, for me, his technique was his issue. As far as his rookie year, you see him like he was getting coached up by Bobby Johnson. Hand placements was good, but when shit was hitting the fan, he went right back to his old stance and old technique, and he was just getting beat on it. Right, so I think in this offseason, as you saw film and etc., like you said, Spee, he actually wanted to work on it, change the stance a little bit more. His hand placements will be a little bit better. His vision, his feet will be a little more quicker. Off the snap. So
you nailed it for me, right? It was the feet. I saw his feet so slow man. All the time, and that's how he got beat. He just didn't get off the line quick enough.
He did not get off the line. His feet were terrible. But when you start looking at a couple of his Instagram accounts and wherever we saw it, I think his Instagram accounts, his feet he was a little more quicker off of it. Now again, it's not in live action. There's no one coming at him, but we'll see. But you see, he got a little bit quicker, right? Right, it's there. So I think with those, with him working on it, like you said, he's smart. He'll figure it out. I expect big things from Neal. Again, I don't expect. Yeah.
So let me add this. This is the first year that he's played a position in his whole entire career for 2 consecutive years. Just to add that little tidbit in. High school, college, NFL. So, take that.
Absolutely
for a 22-year-old, that's pretty crazy. And it gives you faith going forward. But
you absolutely right. Now again, we don't know if he's going to be Andrew Thomas level where he really makes a bounce back and he's top 5 O-line. Again, we don't know. And to put that pressure on him, I don't think it's fair. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I do expect some improvements. I say above average. You know what I mean? I don't know if he'll be elite. We'll see. But I think he'll be able to hold his own. Like you said, he's great at run blocking. He's awesome at it. He just got to figure out that pass pro.
He's an absolute mauler, man.
Absolutely. He just got to figure out the pass pro. And I think once he figures that out, he'll be fine.
You're right. Let's stop comparing him to Andrew Thomas, please. Let's stop saying, well, Andrew Thomas did this. He's going to do that. Andrew Thomas is one of the best tackles in the NFL. Absolutely. We can only hope that Evan Neal is half that. Let's stop comparing the two, please. They're 2 different players.
Totally agree.
Shout out to Jason Garrett. He's the reason we have Evan Neal. Oh, not Evan Neal, my bad. Andrew Thomas, my apologies. Shout out to Jason Garrett. It's the only good thing you did for us. I appreciate you.
Facts.
Everything else was absolute trash, but I appreciate that. There's nothing else he did well, but he gave you Andrew Thomas. Like there's plenty of reporting that he was banging on the table that Andrew Thomas has to be the guy because he saw him as the next Tyron Smith. He was like, "That's your next Tyron Smith." So,
my God, that's a beautiful thing.
I'm not mad at that at all. So hopefully Neil takes the jump. The off season's here. You made the additions. The draft is over. What are you looking forward to now? And in your division, you're still probably seen to be as the third or fourth best team, depending on how you feel about Washington. That's fine, but you're still towards the bottom tier now. You got those pigeons who didn't get it done because it's a Philly thing, right? That's what you do. You lose the big game. It's a Philly thing.
There you go.
They're back at it with more or less, I don't want to say the same core, but they're deep enough where they're just going to kind of rinse and replace the next guy up type scenario. So we'll see how that goes. Dallas made about 2 additions, nothing that is going to make you go crazy, but they're solid additions, solid corner, solid wide receiver to help them. We made a lot of changes, plus new draft, all that. What's going to be the biggest step in this division now for this team? What is the next step they need to do to close the gap? Is it really you got to go 3-3, 4-2? Is it a win-loss thing, or is it just has to look better than it did?
No, you know what, man? You can look at win-losses because that's what it's tallied on, right? But as far as you're looking at talent for roster-wise, right? Like the Eagles is light years ahead as far as that's concerned, as far as the talent on that roster. We can tell, right? When you start to look at Dallas, you say, okay, with the signings that we did, offseason that we have, we're getting a little bit closer to what Dallas may look like. Washington, I think we have their number. We'll beat them. You know what I mean? But I think now we're starting to climb to where the Dallas range is. And Speed, of course, you can have your own thoughts on it because I would love to hear it. But
I agree.
I think these teams is just a little bit ahead still. And I think, just the coaching makes us look good. But those teams just has great talent, man. And we'll see. I think unfortunately, I have to say this, even though I'm a huge Giants fan, and I think we'll go 11-6 here. All right. Ooh. I think we will. There's a revival here talking. All right. I think we will. But we are the third team in the pack until proven otherwise. That talent level was just really, really far, unfortunately. But I
will say this, talk. Week 1, we're beating Dallas. I could put that down.
Yes.
We're gonna
sir.
Mark that down.
Hands down.
Week 1 win.
Hands down. I might have to go to that game, Speed.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm trying to I try to convince people. I think we have closed the gap on Dallas. Dallas, you could argue, it's Philly, San Francisco, and then the next tier. There's the middle tier, in my opinion. That's where Dallas is, and then we are shortly below that, in my opinion. Dallas, until we beat them, they are ahead of us. They've owned us for many years now. Philly, again, I like he says, I don't even think about Philly really that much. I want to play them better, and I think we will play them better because we're just a better team now. But I'm not thinking about Philly right now because they are the best roster in the NFL. And it pains me to say that, but they are the best roster.
And they got better.
Do their thing. They did not take too far a step back, if any, if any. So I look at them. I will worry about Philly in 2024. But that's my thought process. Right now, I want to catch Dallas because that's the next guys right above us. They're in our class, our weight class, in my opinion. What did Dallas do last year to beat the Giants? They ran the ball down their throat. Nonstop. And what did the Giants do this offseason? Their number one plan was get tougher against the run. They went out, got Bobby Okereke, they got Ashawn Robinson, they got Nacho. Even Tay Banks is a good run stopping cornerback. So that was their goal, and it works against both teams. Philly and Dallas, but mostly Dallas, in my opinion. You take away the run game, that makes them a little bit more one dimensional. So I feel like we close the gap there, and I think the coaching difference is so immense. Mike McCarthy is a bum, in my opinion. He's taking play calling for Dallas, which I think is even better, in my opinion, because he stinks. Dabo is going to run circles around this guy, and I truly think McCarthy's gone after this year. So that's what puts us right below them, in my opinion. And I think you'll see week 1. I am with you, Zain, on that. We are going to beat them.
Yeah.
100%.
Kellen Moore went where? He went to the Chargers, right? He's with Herbert now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I forgot they lost Kellen Moore. You're 100% right. They lost Kellen Moore too. So there you go. Their creative guy went otherwise. Zeke is still out there, so it's Pollard on his own. Dak
Zeke will probably sign back.
Probably will.
Watch him sign back.
I like Zeke. I'm
minimum
for him. But in that sense, now Dak was the king of pick sixes last year too, so shouldn't be inspiring too much confidence in that world. A healthy Adoree with a Tay Banks, a little bit of things would be nice.
Yeah.
So we have a question here. Becca wants to know, what did you think about Hattie's re-signing? But she also says, I'm bitter that I'm blocked. I'm not bitter. I'm confused. I'm very confused. Says every pod. I don't know why this man has me blocked. I don't get it.
Had he? Man, Hattie's such a great guy, man. Shout out Hattie.
At training camp, and we chopped it up and made fun of Carter Coughlin together. We had a moment. I was like, hey, Carter Coughlin, and Hattie was like, no, we call him JT. That's Justin Timberlake. And we had a convo, and it was fun. And now he's got me blocked on Twitter, and I don't understand it. Like, I don't know.
Shout out Hattie, man. Hattie, man, we need those.
About that re-signing, more importantly.
Oh, it was great. I mean, the guy's a locker room guy, right? And Hattie, I love the way he played for the team last season. You know what I mean? I was like, man, we really got a dark horse here in Hattie, because, of course, nobody kind of knew who the hell he was in some cases, you know what I mean, or what his history was. But when he put on that NY helmet, this guy played extremely well. You know what I mean? So I love the signing. I love the locker room presence that he has. I think there was just a viral video not too long ago with him rhyming and making fun of one of his teammates, which was great. You know what I mean? So you kind of need that little bit of element in there. You know what I mean? So great signing, man. The guys, he start? He started too, Speed, right? Last season
he
too.
played a lot of snaps.
I think he played a lot of snaps. I don't know if he started, but he played a lot of snaps.
Packages, right? So
that's what it was.
So he rotates people in and out a lot.
Either way, a good depth guy, right? You know, he's going to come in, he's going to do his thing, man. So I'm excited that part. He's a run guy. He's a run stopper type of guy.
Yeah, that's 100%.
And he's got that attitude, that New York attitude. I feel like that like, fuck you, I'm going to play
Philly ball, as they say. How they say Philly ball? He's Philly ball.
Yeah.
That's most likely my guess as to why he has me blocked. I talk a lot of trash, and he's hardcore to play. So
he's Philly ball.
That's probably the biggest one. So what, in your opinion, is the biggest X factor or the biggest piece that's still missing for next season? What do you say, if we had this, we are right there? What is this?
To me, it's still a wide out one, right? To me, on the defensive side, it still be your CB1.
Okay.
I know, and a real legit safety type of guy, because we like X.
You have to pick
one. I'm sorry, my bad. I was just going. My bad, Speed. I'm sorry, I was in it. I'm sorry, I was in it. I was focused. Speed. I'm sorry, brother.
I'm holding it. In my opinion, honestly, it's edge. I want another. Give me Danielle Hunter. They have to put fear into people's hearts. Right, like I think they really still need that one more elite pass rusher to get back to Giants, like what the Giants do, man. Like they're not there, because then it helps everything else on the defense. You don't need as good of a secondary when you have 3 elite pass rushers and you're running them through. One guy gets hurt right now. We're back. I all love the Hattie. Love the Hattie. I love the guy, but we need an elite pass rusher. Get Danielle Hunter.
Hattie isn't even their third pass rusher. It's freaking Zimenez. Like, it's not. No offense, but Zimenez sucks. I guess they wanted to bring him back as a Hattie. He sucks. Look, man, it's not personal. He's a great
true.
It's true. When you were, again, he was the 99th pick, another third-round flop for the Giants in their history of third-round flops recently. He was a third-round pick, and his job is to get to the quarterback. When do you ever see him with the quarterback? I don't ever see him back there. Like, so who is your third guy that, if I'm going to, move around Kayvon or Aziz, and I need that third guy who's just a specialist who's going to come in and add that pressure? Spiro nailed it. Like, that doesn't exist right now. Now, is Thomas Fox going to take that next step? Is Zimenez going to now open up a little bit? Yet to be seen. You've had like 5 years of Zimenez at this point. Ain't nothing really going to change automatically.
Right.
So for me, at this point, give me the Justin Houston for the, just the third, for the third down specialist. Consider a Yannick Ngakoue. I don't know. Whatever's going to work to add, because I'm with Spiro. That piece right there, that's probably a big factor for me that we're kind of still missing. And of course, I think between their wide receivers, I think, Darren Waller is your wide receiver one, right? Whoever takes the most targets kind of becomes that. So I'm fine with that if you want to use him in the Kelsey mode. But yeah, man, I'm missing that third pass rusher who's going to come in. His job is solely to just pin those ears back.
I'll throw another name out at you. Robert Quinn, another veteran guy. He didn't take off with Philly at the end because he got traded halfway through. If you pick up you said it though, that kind of vet, Justin Houston, Robert Quinn, Ngakwe, I feel like is a little bit out of our price range. He probably will ask for a little bit more money, but get that third vet in there. That's going to be your pass rush specialist. The Chris Long for Philly back when they won their Super Bowl. That was a guy that changed things for them. A veteran that came in, made some important sacks. Get that guy in this defense will take the next step. I truly believe that.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Next season, what's disappointing that if this is the outcome, and what is satisfactory if this is the outcome? What's the outcome that hits both those marks for you?
I'll say for me, and this is going to be people are not going to want to hear this, but if we win 8 games next year, I won't be pissed. And I know it sounds like a loser mentality, but this schedule, if it stays as is going to be a tough schedule. There are not many easy, roads to 10 wins. I have us winning 10 wins, but if they play tough against the Eagles, they win a game against Dallas, they lose a couple tough ones in the mix with San Francisco, to these two tough teams.
I'm gonna do this while you're talking. Keep talking. I'm just gonna throw this to you. Yeah, let's go ahead. Go ahead and put that in
USA.
What's going
on? What's up, my guys? Sorry, I missed the show. I was.
Oh no, it's still going. You just revived the show, if you will. Right? The show.
No pun intended.
Buckle up, folks. Hour 2 is underway.
I mean, you're here. Jump right in it.
Yes.
You can take, because I think we're probably wrapping up. You can take a couple of this too, Hefe.
Yeah.
But
just
let me do
season.
Let me do disappointing, Speed, because you said 8 and 8. What, you were done, Speed, by the way? I wasn't sure, bro.
Yeah. Well, 8. I said I could find a scenario where 8 and 9, I'd still be okay with it. Satisfactory. Anything below 8 wins though is not acceptable in my mind. Below 8 wins, that's my low. That's my low.
I think Speed 8 and 8 will be an outcry. And
8 and 9, by the way.
Yeah,
Yep,
8 and 9 will be whoa. You know what I mean? Because they didn't beat last year, right? And I think if the quarterback takes a huge step back, so I think that'll be the unfortunate part. You know what I mean? If you're losing games and the quarterback isn't playing well, that's when you'll go, shoot, damn, we just signed this guy, and that's like the world's about to come to an end.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think that'll be the downside of it. If you go in 2024, you got your quarterback you thought you did, and Daniel Jones is the turnover machine. He just doesn't going back to his old thing where he's just holding on to the ball a little longer, you know what I mean, as before, and this doesn't adjust to the pressure because he's just in his own head. That's the bad scenario of 2024, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but,
I'm in that 8-win scenario. I am hoping that Daniel Jones still plays well, but the defense just didn't pick up the slack against some good offenses. That's my 8 wins are okay, but that's I'm still picking 10 wins. Hefe, what do you got, bro? What do you?
We had a good chat today in one of the spaces with like Sal and Dash and those guys, and we were talking about how the coaches kind of established the floor, right, for a season. And I think the thing I'm most confident in is Dable, and the fact that we're able to bring both coordinators back from like an overachieving, good vibe season, I think was huge because they were both getting interviewed. So I think the fact that we brought the 3 coaches back, Daniel Jones is not learning the system. Now you're adding on to the system, which is finally a good system for him. So like 8 wins is not a good year, I think, coming off of what we did last year. I think a lot of teams sometimes pop off for a season and then go back. So anything can happen. But I think we're going to it's a tougher schedule, and I think we're going to compete with those tougher teams. I still think Cowboys and Eagles are going to determine how close we are. And if it starts in week 1. Eagles, we need another year. Like that's in my mind anyway right now.
We're going to steal one on Christmas, calling it.
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
Okay.
But I think should we find a way to beat Dallas in week 1 at home. It changes the entire season. And like,
oh, you missed it earlier. We're calling that one too happening. Week 1's happening.
I think so too. I think the vibes are going to be so elite at that game. Sunday Night Football. It's going to be epic. I'm definitely trying to get to that one.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, if we're not going to the game and getting to the game, where are we meeting up to watch the game? Is the very next question. Because that's got to be the move, right? Like,
where are you at, Zain?
But that's the move. I have a car, so I'll be wherever I need to be.
Okay,
I like that. I like
right on.
So listen, guys.
I'm unfortunately in Philly territory. I'm down South Jersey, but
Fine.
yeah,
But I'll tell you this, guys, we're
Central.
For New York Revival, man, we did something. Zain, if you don't mind, we have a shameless plug. But
no,
we
it's
wanted
not
to have
shameless. I brought you on for you to talk about you. So talk about you.
Appreciate you, man. We had a shameless plug of we getting 5,000 followers. We will buy some Revival fans or some revivalists, as we call them, our peoples, our family. One beer, because we ain't rich, guys. We ain't rich, but we will buy you the first round. Come celebrate with us.
Yeah,
the first beer is on us. So we will have those dates up soon so where you guys can come and just hang out. Zain, you're more than welcome to come through. We're establishing the place now. And come on through, man. First beer is on us, man. But we should do it sometime, I think, in mid-July. We're working on I think on a Tuesday or Wednesday, guys. I know that's a little crazy for you, but we're going to get there early, get the hell out of there early because we got family and all that stuff. Of course, guys.
But the first beer is the most important one. Everybody knows that. When someone buys you the first beer, it's basically worth 3 or 4 because there's nothing quite like that first beer. So
I agree. Right. So come on through. We're going to put that out for you guys very shortly. So, that's what we're going to do as far as before the game. But if we can't get to a game physically, guys, we'll probably do something of that nature where we come on down, see if we can get some spreads going, and hopefully, host you guys to a game or two and see what happens.
Well, if y'all don't make it to game 1, because I'm probably not going to game 1 to the actual stadium. If you're not in the stadium, we'll collab. Let's do something. We'll host a watch party. We'll just meet up and kick it, bro. That's all it is, right? We'll get together and watch the game.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Tempt me with a good time.
Yeah,
that's what we're here for. Where is Darius's question? That's one. Darius, I appreciate you. The beard is bearding. I'm growing the sucker out. And I had to shout out because everybody here has a lovely beard. It's not just beard. I see beautiful beards all across the screen right now. So I got to shout out all the beards. Beards, way to go. I actually was growing out my beard, and then I trimmed it, and both of my kids were like, "What did you do?" I was like,
where's Daddy?
They're like, why? I was like, I don't know. And I got 2 boys, right? 12 and 10. They're like, you need to grow it back. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm going to grow it back.
Dude, when you rock a beard for years and then you go clean shaven, like I did that once a couple of years ago, I'm not doing it again anytime soon.
Never.
Clean shave. I'd probably get arrested if I walked around clean shave, bro. I'm not built to look that way. Like I'd trim it down, but I wouldn't go clean shave. I'd get pulled over just from walking.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I remember my boy TK was like, "Don't ever fucking do this again."
No,
you look hideous.
I think Spiro did it if the Giants win. He had the porn stash, and we were like, "Hurry up with that beard, bro."
Yeah,
I liked his mustache.
Get it back.
The
porn stash, I don't know, man.
Not like a long-term solution, but I liked it. I liked it for short-term.
Bring it back.
I'm trying to get to the point where I could rest my elbow on the table and just go like this, and there's just beard in my hand. I'm not there yet. See, Eli's got show off, bro. Go ahead, show off.
Yeah, you got
it. You got it. I'll get there one day.
It'll be quick.
So between the 3 of you, each one can go off first. Give me, and it's hard to pick one here. Give me your worst Giants memory. And it could just be the feeling even. Or if you have a couple, rattle them off. But what's the worst feeling as a Giants fan? Or was?
Deshaun Jackson,
that
Matt
seems
Dodge.
to be the one. Once again, for like the 9th time in a row, Matt Dodge, go to hell.
Yes, that one was the worst loss because we were winning, right? We just had to tackle him. And that one, I literally was sitting in front of my TV, blindly watching the screen. I didn't know what was on. I was just stuck watching that TV. I think I was taking down or putting up my Christmas tree. I don't even know what. I think it was in December, so I think I was putting up my Christmas tree. But I stopped doing my Christmas tree. My kids was like, "Dad, what's going on?" I was just
numb. Christmas is canceled.
What? Numb, completely numb to what just happened. And the worst memory. We had tough losses, but that was the worst for me as a fan.
Funny story about that game. I was at that game, and I went to go take a piss because I was like, there's no way we're gonna punt the ball to him. So we're going into overtime. I want to beat the crowd.
It was over 2. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you missed
I went to the
the turn.
bathroom and I hear the crowd going nuts.
Oh,
and then
my
I come
God.
back and I just remember seeing my buddy's face as he's coming down the tunnel and I'm going through the tunnel. He's like, just turn around. He's like, no way. I was there at the game, but didn't see the second miracle.
Guys, we were up 31-10 with like 8 minutes and change left.
I knew as soon as
Yeah.
Manningham
Was
fumbled in that game.
wow.
Manningham fumbled and they gave the ball back to him. I was like, this is gonna breathe life to him. I don't like the way this is going. But my worst game still, Trey Junkin and San Francisco wild card loss, where
No flag call
was an easy
flag
field
on
goal.
the field.
And I swear to you, we would have won. We would have gotten the Super Bowl that year too. And it just, I was watching the freaking game while I was working, and I had to leave work because I was so distraught because my other buddy was a 49ers fan at the game at work, and he was giving me so much shit. I had to leave work. It was my most devastating memory, that San Francisco 49er playoff.
Yeah, that one, the refs just blew that one. That's not even, I mean,
Well, Trey Junkin had a bad fumble, though. Bad snap. He's had bad snaps all game. That's the Trey Junkin.
Kind of let that game get away, but that should have been a field goal set up right then and there. That's just a missed call. The Deshaun Jackson thing is because Matt Dodge sucks. God, I hate you.
So I can't even say that. Don't say that name anymore. It just breaks my heart. I guess you got something. I don't know. Now I'm like, ugh.
I know.
Depressing conversation. I'm sorry.
I hate digging up these old dark feelings, but
there
was, and I'm trying to remember what specific year, like what happened in the game to remember it. But I know it was a week 1 loss to Dallas, and it was it had to be like between the years of like 2010, 2013, like in that range, because I remember where I was living, and I just remember being so fucking mad that we lost that week 1 game because I just knew it, like we had it won, some shit happened, and we blew it. And I just remember being so angry that like my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, like couldn't console me. I was just such a miserable asshole, like walking around the block like I was throwing stuff. Like I usually have like some control over myself, and I just couldn't. I was so angry, and I just never, like the Eagles game was an obvious one, like just humiliating loss in that fashion. But for some reason, that week 1 loss, and now I'm like digging up these feelings as we have a week 1 game against Dallas again. But that made me so uncontrollably pissed off, and just because I know it was going to change the season, and it did. I remember like having a bad.
That's asking. Is that the one where Eli threw that first pick? And I think that was DeMarcus Lawrence on the underneath. Or it wasn't DeMarcus Lawrence. I'm sorry. Man. Who was that linebacker? DeMarcus Ware. I'm so sorry. DeMarcus Ware.
DeMarcus Ware.
Because Eli never saw the linebacker ever in his life. Man. That was the guy he always threw it to. That could have been a pick. But now let's reverse field a little bit. Give me some of the happiness. What is the best moment you can think of as a Giants fan for yourself?
Super Bowl 42. Right?
Yeah.
I would say Super Bowl 42, improbable, as Michael Strahan would say. I think every Giants fan, and I want to get y'all opinion on this too. It's funny because going into that game, I was like, man, I think we could win this thing. You know what I mean? But I knew, undefeated team, scared. We didn't know what was going on, but the Tyree catch, that whole emotion of finally winning the Super Bowl after losing all them years, and I'm talking about Danny Cannell, Dave Brown, Kent Graham. I'm watching football like that. You know what I mean? The 2000s, we lost to the Baltimore Ravens, and to finally win one. And I think my daughter was like 6 months old, I think, at the time. I think when it happened. And I bought her a New York Giants little, we call it a Bimpy. Everybody call it Bobo, pacifier, whatever. And I remember the Bobo snatched it out of her mouth. It's actually in my 2007 Super Bowl case. I snatched it out of my mouth. I was like, this is luck. It was just such an incredible journey because I was like, man, we finally did it. In my lifetime, I get to see my team win a Super Bowl. And, man, we won one, of course, another one. But just to see that first one, best one, man. Best one ever.
I can't disagree with that, man. Like right there, I was running through the streets. There was
I'm beeping, Speed. I'm driving the beeping.
It was pure ecstasy watching Plaxico come down there. Like that ball felt like it was in the air for about 15 minutes when it was going to Plax because everybody saw him wide open. We're like, holy shit, this is happening. And as we were celebrating as the ball was in the air because it was just pure ecstasy coming out, and It was many years of getting close. 2000, we got our doors blown off by the Ravens, but like it just culminated with an improbable 18-0 team that we beat. Nobody gave us a chance, and Eli shoved it up everybody's ass because everybody.
They were about to run him out of town, right?
And I felt like I was the only one defending him in my crew of people. So it was a little bit of personal validation for me. I'm like, I told you, motherfucker, that this is gonna work. It felt so damn good, man. But that was it, man. 2007.
Yeah, you guys, and I'll leave you with this because I'm supposed to be hanging out with my wife right now. She in the door.
You better run. You better run.
But it was that game, and I never felt so like genuinely happy and invincible in my life. Like I had like a bunch of Giants fans on my block. They were like setting fireworks off. I was like running over them. Because nothing could possibly affect me. There was a party going on through my backyard, like at a neighbor's house, and I could tell they're Giants fans because they're going nuts. I just ran over to a party where I knew nobody and was just hugging people. Like, imagine feeling that good. We just crashed a party with arms open, like somebody hugged me. Like it was that kind of night.
It was euphoria. Once I saw all the post game stuff, all I was doing, I'm not gonna lie, I was just sending out texts to everybody, talking so much smack. I did that till probably 6 a.m. and be like, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" It was just what happened on repeat to everybody. But then you got the whole, oh, you got lucky. Twice though? Twice?
Yeah, right.
It's not a fluke. It's not a fluke if it's twice. That's what I always say. You can't
and we could have won the next year if it wasn't for Plax. Well, shout out to Plax, but we could have won again. That was another bad memory. I'm sorry.
Did you watch his special or his interview when he actually finally in detail talks about that night? Did you watch that episode?
No, I missed it. I need to
watch it. I
can't really
quick summary. It literally was the fact that he had no idea that the gun laws were different in Jersey versus where he's from. That's all it was. He's like, I take it everywhere I go. I didn't know I couldn't take it to Jersey and New York, and that's all it was. That's
He's been living
Jersey's
in Jersey,
a little more lenient than New York. You should understand how New York works. Like
but
New
York, he was already a Giant for years.
Like, you should know the laws, bro.
You should be hitting up that agent. You should be hitting up your agent. Everybody should be filling you in on these things. Your team should be preparing you for these.
No excuse, man.
Coming from that.
You need some better friends.
Carrying a weapon through state lines. Everybody has different law. Come on, man. Come on.
We love Plex.
Come on. Well, shout out to Plex. We love you, Plex. We love you, Plex.
I mean, it's still kind of a wash, right? If you gave us,
He wants
I'll take those.
Could have been three though. But that's another story. That's another story.
Favorite all-time Giant and favorite current Giant.
I'm gonna let you guys run with this because I'm gonna get in trouble.
I got one more than me.
I love you.
One more than me.
Same. I got one more too.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
I love you, bro.
Thank you.
Later, FA. Favorite all-time Giant, you said, and favorite current.
Yep.
Favorite all-time. It's a underrated, appreciated name. Jesse Armstead. Always love Jesse Armstead. Number 98.
Dare you take my favorite back of all time? How dare you?
I always love
my show, and you take my player? Nonsense.
I love Jesse Armstead.
I'm with you 100%. That's real ball, though. Jesse Armstead is probably the most underrated linebacker, my favorite linebacker. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I always had a thing for them, and I guess offensively, man, it's tough to say because there's a lot of turnover. I'm gonna have to go with Dexter Lawrence, man. Dexter Lawrence, I've been shouting him out. Saquon would have been the easy way, but I'm gonna go with Dex because I've always been defending him in the streets because everybody called him a 2-down player, and I said, there's more to this guy than you guys even have an idea about. I knew there was untapped potential, and he reached it last year, and it kind of felt good to that. He now has the stats to back up how dominant of a force he is, and I'm so happy that we got that guy for however many years going forward, 4 years, whatever, 5 years.
Let me say this, man. My all-time back in the day Giant. This should be no surprise to anyone, Speed, or at least to you, right? Be Tiki freaking Barber, man. Tiki Barber. That's my guy. That's my Aries brother. His birthday is literally one day after mine. So shout out to Tiki Barber. Great guy, man, and I'm more than happy we developed a great relationship since he's been on the Revival. If you guys missed that, go check that out. New York Revival, Tiki Barber interview. A lot of people in the comments is like, but he crapped on Eli. He explained all of that on the pod. Go watch it, okay? But Tiki Barber will definitely be my guy. No matter what, I have a soft spot for him. I will go to war for him. Great dude. currently, and I'm going to take the easy way out here. I'm going to say Saquon, man, and it's really one of my favorite guys. And the reason why I was so hard on him, at least during our pod, where I was like, yo, just show up for camp. Just show up for OTAs, show up, because I already know he's the face of the franchise. And I already know by him doing certain things that what he's projecting to do as far as camp, which I don't think he's going to do now, is that, people will turn their back on him, and there's no reason to. You know what I mean? I already know what that is like in New York. So that's the reason why I'm hard on him and say, yo, get this contract out the way. Come on, man. But Saquon is definitely my guy as far as current, man. Shout out to Saquon.
Yeah.
Time's ticking on that. That day's approaching very close now. I think we're on
2 weeks. 12 days.
I hear whispers. I'm just letting y'all know I hear whispers. I'm not an insider, but I got people on the inside. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but I hear whispers.
They're good whispers.
I hear whispers. I hear whispers. Give him a minute. I hear whispers.
Okay. I like it. I'm hoping the whispers
You got the exclusive, Zain. You got the exclusive.
Yeah, I got you, man. Don't worry. I'll hit you in the DM. Don't worry about it. You can whisper the DM, bro. All right. Last question. I'll let you go because I appreciate you having your times. We all got family. I want to make sure, like I said, I'm very humbled and grateful for your time. Last question. It's a two-parter. Part one's going to be, what's the best thing about Giants Twitter for you?
For me, honestly, and I don't know if this is going to reach him, but it's a guy named Big Lou. He actually saw me working in my day job. He saw me walking in literally to work, and he actually pulled over and was like, yo, you look familiar. And I shouted his name, Big Lou. And I don't think people understand the amount of people that I know or rattle off that interacts with me all the time. Yeah. I think he was more shocked when I was like, yo, Big Lou. And he was just like, yo, like, we got 40.7K people. How you know me? You know what I mean? So the fact that I know certain people, by, Twitter handle or by whatever their name they call themselves, you know what I mean? Like, that's a special place for me. You know what I mean? They know who I am. You know what I mean? That's pretty crazy. I say this all the time. I'm just a regular guy, man. And I could probably speak for my brothers too when we say that. Just a regular dude, man. I go to work 9 to 5, punch a clock like everybody else. You know what I mean? So the fact that people will be like, yo, so-and-so, and I'm able to give it that love right back to them, man, that's the special place about Giants Twitter, man. It's an extended family. It's literally extended family, man. I'll invite everybody over to a barbecue if I could. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's special about it, that I really got an extended family. And, of course, like I said at the beginning, with my brother, unfortunately, not being here with me to talk Giants football, I got y'all. So shout out to Giants Twitter. I will not be able to meet Tiki Barber, Ransom, some of the people that we hold near and dear. I would not be able to meet these guys without them, period, hands down. So, and I wouldn't be able to have this cool merch people actually buy. That's a dream come true. I'm a poor kid that grew up in the projects. I'm talking about lights off, eating every other day, every other week, whatever, trying to find whatever I can to make sure I can survive. So the fact people are rocking a New York Revival logo and atting me or atting my brothers, that's a dream come true for me. So that's the best part about Giants Twitter. It made me Eli Rax, a.k.a. Vibes, and I appreciate that, honestly. So shout out to them, and I know I'm on my soapbox with that, but that's honest. That's love right there, for real. But
man. No, it's I love how passionate this fan base is, and it's also the worst part of Twitter. We are so damn passionate that everybody picks. We're a smart fan base that knows their shit, but everybody, sticks to their guns and believes, that they know best for the team, the success of this team. But everybody loves the shit out of this team, and it's this Giants franchise has been around for so long that's passed on typically generations throughout your family. So there's deep, true love for this organization. So the passion is always there, which is the great part, but it's also the toxicity part because everybody thinks they know best for their New York Giants, and they're gonna fight tooth and nail in the spaces, in the Twitter streets, everywhere.
Spaces are toxic, bro. Those spaces
they get real bad.
Listen, and you know what? It's like it's so cool. It's so cool. Like, have your opinion. It's just when it starts to get into where you starting to meet people around the corner, like, dude, I've seen a Twitter space, which I left completely. Like, I don't get involved in Twitter space, and shout out to everybody that hosts unless I'm running it or unless it's Revival. You get what I'm saying? Because I went in a Twitter space and I seen people was like, yo, drop your addy, I'm like, bro, Y'all about 40, 35
Right?
years old
What are we
with
talking
kids
about?
and
Yeah,
what
right.
are y'all doing, bro? Y'all really
Exactly.
gonna risk y'all freedom for the New York Giants? Y'all sound stupid. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just like, yo, when it starts getting to that, that's why I'm like, yo, y'all bugging out. I'm not risking my freedom. You know what I mean? Because if I get arrested, I make the paper with my career. You get what I'm saying? So why would I do that? You get what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to. Honestly, if I get in trouble, I'm making the Staten Island Advance. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
why would I risk that? You know what I mean? So guys, you should do the same.
But
You
we
should
love
do
you
the
guys.
same, man.
We love
But
everybody
we love
out
y'all.
there. Yeah.
But we love y'all. Just
For
cut
better
the
or
rest of the
worse,
stuff out.
Yeah, y'all need
Give
to chill.
me all the other naysayers. I'm cool with that. I love it. I love a
Yeah, I
debate.
mean, you
Give
kind
me
of
all that
answered.
other stuff. Cut that out.
Y'all answered part 2 anyway, which is the dark side of it. But y'all hitting the dark side, right? It's like people are a little bit too extreme considering
Yeah.
that it's
Weird.
just a conversation. Like the team don't pay you. You don't work for the team. It ain't your cousin. You know, I'm lucky enough to even interact with some of the players' family members, and they're all just mad chill. And they have nothing but great things to say about the fans they interact with because we approach right. Like Spiro said, right? We're a pretty good fan base, a smart one, a knowledgeable one, passionate, most likely to a fault, if you will. And then you just have that little dark hole of the sphere of just like the crazies, like Vod is talking about, like Eli's talking about, like y'all pull up. What are you pulling up on? I don't understand. A bar?
What are we talking about?
It ain't
Daniel
that
Jones?
serious.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Daniel Jones
it
don't
ain't that
pay none of
serious.
our bills, bro. Like, what are we doing?
Really actual emotion into some stranger saying a different opinion? Like it ain't gotta be all that.
It's just,
We can agree to disagree, and that's okay. As long as I can see your point, like okay, I get it. I just don't agree with it, and that's okay, right? That's normal. But listen, appreciate you guys for hanging for so long. Again, humbled, grateful, appreciative that y'all even took the time out. I look forward to future collaborations too. We're definitely gonna get something popping, get something going.
Hell yeah, man.
Appreciate everybody in the chat too, coming out and spending time. I ain't got to be here, but again, once again, always appreciate everyone taking their time out to just listen to us talk, because that's all really what we're doing, just talking and sharing opinions. So grateful for you guys, humbled, and thank you. Make sure you check these guys out. I know you already are, but in case you weren't, like one of the few people we had in the chat, go follow them. They're really, really easy to find. New York Revival is it the New York Revival or just New York Revival? It's the
New York Revival at New York Revival.
At New York Revival. Listen,
you got me thinking. Like, is there a third in there?
I don't remember. Make sure you follow them, sub to their pod. Just interact with them, bro. They're just regular cool people. Interact with them. They're great people, and these are the kind of people you want to know in the Giants Twitter's world if you want to enjoy yourself. And like I said, it's New York Revival, so they'll talk Knicks with you, they'll talk Rangers with you, they'll talk Islanders with. They're gonna talk New York sports with you. WNBA, they got it. Whatever you want, they got it. Mets, Yankees, whatever, they got it. Jets, I don't know. We'll
talk some shit about the Jets, but
we talk it up. We talk about it.
You know what?
We'll talk about it.
Everyone, appreciate everyone being here. And yeah, just thank you.